Alright, this is the kitchen sink. It is absolutely amazing. It's a lot of vegetables to go through, but truly worth it because you're covering all of your nutrient spectrum in this. So we start with the red cabbage, since it has actually a little more nutrition than the green cabbage in certain areas of your body. Kale, we're going through our tricolored kale. We've got our red kale, our black kale, and our green kale. We've got some celery. Celery actually helps to lower blood pressure. It's very, very effective at that. And actually, they found a chemical in celery that actually fights cancer. Yeah. Who would have thought? This little fibrous little thing that people put peanut butter on because it doesn't seem to taste good. Apple, of course. We've got to sweeten the load. And we've got our jicama. Many people don't know what jicama is. They walk past this and they think it's a potato, but it's a very extremely refreshing nutrient. Vegetable grown in the ground. We've got our carrots again. 3 carrots in this. Red chard. Swiss chard is white. This is red chard, same variety. Large cucumber. Spinach. Okay. I prefer this type of spinach, the whole spinach, instead of bag spinach, but you can always use bag spinach. Bag spinach, unfortunately, sometimes that's where the E. coli and all of those things, because it's got to go through the manufacturing plant. You get to wash this yourself. We've got some parsley, cilantro. Both are antiviral in your body. They help tremendously. And then collard greens. And no, we're not cooking this with bacon and cooking it for 45 minutes. We're juicing it. It's amazing. Amazing plant. Red bell pepper. Why do I choose a red bell pepper? Because mostly everything is green in here. We have green, orange, red, purple, and of course the purple beet. Alright? Now, I'm going to get to chopping, putting away, and we'll get back to watching how we juice it. Okay, remember this is a kitchen sink, so it's really a lot of the time what's left over in the actual drawer. So we're going to be cutting. We're not going to cut as much of everything because we're putting so much variety in here. It's like a great big garden salad, a little more concentrated. So, just a little bit of your red cabbage. Let's chop that up real quick since we're on it. Put that right in that colander. This is your jicama. I wanted you to look at this jicama as we cut through this. Look at the fresh meat inside this. It glistens off the light because that's how much moisture is in here. It's an amazing plant. It replenishes some nutrients, vital nutrients, particularly with sweating. And we'll get to that recipe too when you're out in the sun all day and you need to recover. Okay. That's another wonderful recipe. Also, we've got another recipe for when you are... Actually, when you have, you're going to use a whole apple on this one. When you have a fever, how to reduce a fever when you're sick at home and you don't want to take any meds. And I'm not saying whether you should or should not take any meds. That's not for me to decide. But there's a wonderful recipe. That's our watermelon fever reduction juice. I love celery stalk and 2 celery stalks. It's amazing. You really don't need enough celery. It's good for the intestines when you eat it as well, so that it helps to cleanse the intestines out. Bell pepper. Red bell pepper is more expensive. There's no question about it. It is more expensive. Does it have more vitamin C than the green bell pepper? No, it does not. But it's red, and you have absolutely no red in this menu if you don't have the red bell pepper. You do have some beet, and yes, you do have the purple cabbage, but it's not the same vibrancy as that red. I'm combining all the leafy vegetables. You notice, I only used half the bell pepper. I only used a little bit of the red cabbage. I only use 1 huge leaf of the red chard and just a handful, a big, large handful of that spinach. Again, if you do too much, or not again, but if you do too much parsley, you may get a little bit of diarrhea. So be careful with it. Test the quantity amount. 2 leaves of the collard greens. Again, collard greens on their own don't juice wonderfully, so if you're using the centrifugal juicer, you're just wasting your time. Better to steam your collard greens and eat them that way, or al dente for 2 minutes as it breaks down the cell walls. You're not going to be able to break down the cell walls on your own, other than unless you chew really well. That's how we break down vegetable cell walls, is our chewing process. We are omnivores, but we're not turtles. So that's why we require the chewing process. This is quite actually a very large beet. You don't typically find this large a beet in the store. Usually you find them in bunches, and the beets themselves, you can use the beet leaves, which are amazing too. Tons of nutrition in the beet leaves. So I would say that much of the beet. That much of the beet. Half a cucumber, only because I love eating cucumbers, but you could use a whole cucumber if you'd like. Any type of cucumber is fine, whichever ones you prefer. The Russian ones, or not the Russian ones, the Persian cucumbers, excuse me, are great because they're already small. They can already fit through the juicer typically on their own. Carrots. We finish off with the carrots. It takes a long time to chop these, so we're going to move on past this. If you'd like, you can buy the small carrots that are already, they're not small carrots, but they're already cut for you in bags. You can use those, rinse them. It's really easy, actually. So this is the end. We're going to chop these a little later since they do take a little bit of time. We're going to go to the sink, rinse these, wash them, rinse, wash, rinse, and we're going to come back and juice. Kitchen sink. Okay, we've got them all washed, rinsed, and ready to go. Let's get it started. You know, actually sometimes when you're juicing this amount of vegetables, which is a lot, it actually can be a very meditative process. Yeah, it can sometimes seem boring, but it might be your only break during the day. And I'll tell you what, if you got kids, this is the only time they leave you alone. But if you have somewhat of a good salesman like Tom Sawyer was, or Huck Finn, you can always just get excited about it. And usually from that 6 to 10-year-old phase, they'll even do it for you sometimes. You might get them to drink it. The more they participate in the actual act of juicing or cutting, they get more exposed to vegetables, the more willing to try it. And what a great way to, it's almost a family event. And if not, if you just want to be with your own thoughts during the process, this does take some time. You're going to have enough juice throughout the day, too. You're going to be able to put it in a steel container. I prefer a steel container. You know, with all the research out there about plastics, I don't know what's right, to tell you the truth, whether it's bad or good, but if there is some information out there that says that there's chemicals that leach out into your body that are bad, why not use the steel? I mean, we know that the steel is really good for you. Plus, a steel container, when you seal that top is airtight, and that's really important as far as keeping the nutrients fresh and not degrading. Nutrients degrade from oxygen and light and time. And the reason you're juicing is to get as many phytonutrients, vitamins, and minerals as you can in your body in a very easily assimilated form. As we age, our digestive enzymes in our stomach age as well, and they decline. So this is a way to not boost up your stomach enzymes, but boost up the nutrients that you can receive in your body. Because personally, I don't think I can eat all that in one sitting as a salad. I don't know about you, but I couldn't. Juicing is just an amazing, amazing thing. Alright, awesome. We got done with all the kitchen sink. We filled the entire container with juice. So this is about 32 ounces of vegetable juice. The kitchen sink, you do that quantity, will last throughout the day. You sip it. You don't drink it all at one time. You're just going to get too much of a shot of nutrition, and it's going to be wasted. You want to consume it throughout the day. So again, you're going to pour it in. You're going to pour yourself a glass to get started, and then you're going to pour the rest in a steel container and sip it throughout the day or when you come home. Better yet, actually, is a perfect time is after dinner. About a half hour. Drink it down. You'll be really set as your body gets all those nutrients as you're sleeping to go on the next day. Let's try it. I am not the best pourer in the world, as you just found out, but that's all right. Kitchen sink. That's actually really amazing. This is the best recipe I can come up with.